This is a HeadGum podcast.
Hello and welcome to The Complete Guide to Everything, a podcast about everything. I am your host, Tom.
And I'm Tim.
How are you doing this week, Tim?
Tom, I'm feeling better, thank you.
Were you feeling unwell?
Yeah, you didn't even know it.
Okay.
A couple days ago, I had such a cold. It
Well,
came on
you were
suddenly.
in another state.
Yeah, so
How
what?
am I supposed to hear? By
That's
the time the telegraph got here, you were already back.
Yeah, I did send you a postcard. I thought I might die.
That just said, I'm sick.
Yeah. I figured you'd recognize the handwriting, so I didn't sign it.
Right.
And also, I was very, very weak.
I think if I got a postcard that just said I'm sick, I'd assume it was from you. We both have a sloppy left-handed handwriting.
Yeah.
I was looking at my handwriting the other day. I was handwriting a bunch of notes and getting so upset with myself for never having gotten better handwriting.
When I put my mind to it, I'm pretty good with my handwriting.
Is that what it is? Because the
you
same
take
thing
time,
with
and it takes your attention.
Because the same thing with me, if I take time, but I can only take time for like 5 seconds before I get frustrated and go back to real
It's
sloppy.
because I write so many things, but I type so many things.
Right.
So I'm used to my thoughts just flowing out there, just,
Exactly.
like jazz, like free jazz.
And the old cursive slows you down, or print.
Yeah. It's a clunky machine,
I don't know.
this hand of mine.
I always think about big famous people or whatever. They're like, oh, we have their journals. Look at their journals. And you never see like, oh, we found Thomas Edison's journal. His handwriting's horrible.
Well, think about how goddamn boring it was all the time back then.
It's true. It's not even so much that my handwriting's horrible. It's my handwriting's inconsistent. Like,
Yeah.
I don't write letters the same way as consistently.
Well, that's weird.
I know. I got all these YouTube videos saved that I got to watch about my brain.
Okay. I thought to improve your handwriting.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, that's not a bad genre.
Yeah. Oh, I don't care that much, I guess.
One time I was helping a fellow classmate in second grade learn how to write his letters
Yeah.
and numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And I was we were going through the numbers,
Yeah.
and he was like, "Oh, that's how you make a 4?"
Mhm.
And I was like, "Yeah, that's how I make a 4." And he's like, "When I get home today, my cousin told me he'd teach me how to make a 4 the way that it looks on Channel 4."
Nice.
And it was
with the slanted
with the
line.
slanted line,
Uh-huh.
but like
instead of like the calculator style 4.
exactly. And I was taught and was
Yeah.
teaching this gentleman the calculator style 4.
Right.
And I remember thinking like, crap, it looks like tomorrow the teacher will become the student because I want to learn how to write this 4.
Very simple.
Yeah, but like, now
It's
At my
literally
age,
3 lines.
now at my age, I understand. I'll just slant that line. But like, that's something somebody needs to, at some point in your life, somebody needs to tell you, like, no, here's a thing that's look like that, and this is what it looks like. But I have to teach you how to make these 3 lines look that way.
Well, 2 things though. First thing, it's not just slanting the line because you can't have the horizontal line go past the vertical line in that style 4.
Exactly.
Second thing, you ever look at that style 4 in handwriting? It looks like shit.
Yeah.
It always
that's
looks
what we learned.
terrible.
That's what I learned the next day.
Yeah, sure. If you're Channel 4, you've got the big budget to get graphics made up. You don't have some knucklehead just drawing it every night.
Yeah. And it's also like in bold font, so that makes it look a little bit more regal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
the
anyway.
one on the keyboard, too.
Really?
I am. Just
Oh,
looking.
yeah.
Live update. Breaking news. The Channel 4 style 4 is also the 4 you'll find on most regular keyboards.
Maybe the designer of these keyboards was Landon's cousin.
Maybe. It's like one day this 4 is going to be on every keyboard.
It's not just going to be on WNBC New York.
Right. But you were saying you're sick.
Yeah, I was just sick for a day, and it was an intense cold where I thought, no, I'm screwed. I'm screwed.
Yeah.
This is a week and a half.
Mm-hmm.
then I got on an airplane feeling terrible.
No, always a surefire cure.
Yeah. And it was the pressure made my head hurt the whole time.
Every time I've been in an airplane or I've been sick, I've gotten off the airplane wishing I was dead.
Yeah, it was the worst. I couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
I watched.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do because you're just in pain. Basically, you're the pressure in your head won't leave.
Yeah, so I was like, ah, dang it, and I got home and went to bed, and I woke up and I was fine the next morning.
Wow.
Yeah.
Miracle cure.
Yeah.
What did you do? Any advice you can?
I flew on an airplane,
Mm-hmm.
and I just let it all hang out.
You took your pants off on the plane?
I took my pants
you
off.
Unzipped your fly?
I was sneezing and blowing my nose with no regard for those around me.
Yeah.
It would very much not appreciate it.
Well, and people are very chill about that right now. Very chill about illnesses
when
spreading.
traveling, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I actually, part of my discomfort came from the fact that, like, I
you
couldn't
realized
blow my
everybody was
nose or
looking at
like
ya.
sneeze audibly or anything. So if I was going to blow my nose, I had to go to the bathroom. So I had to save it up for a while so I couldn't really breathe. Right? Because, like,
Yeah.
what are you going to do in a cabin of an airplane, a fully packed airplane? Start blowing your nose like some kind of creep? During this time of
right, the coronavirus and
Yeah.
everybody's
on high alert.
high alert about illnesses.
Yeah.
That's why I've been in the city recently.
New York City?
New York City.
New York City.
I've just been it's good. It's still flu season, so it's good all around. But I've been wash my hands till they're raw.
Yeah, me too. Guess what? Didn't get a flu shot.
Me neither.
Yeah.
And I know this is bad, but like everybody I've heard got the flu shot got the flu anyway.
No, that's
Not from the shot, but they got a different strain. So it sounds like the strain that's in New York isn't the one that the flu shot prevents
I
anyway.
didn't get the flu.
That's what a doctor said to me.
Really?
No.
You haven't
Tim,
been
I
to a
don't talk
doctor
to
yet?
doctors.
Yeah, I didn't get the flu shot because I am lazy and forgot to go. I always think I'm going to stop at like a CVS on my way home, and I never do. I'm always too tired.
I was at a CVS recently, and I was gonna ask them about the flu shot because they had signs up that said "Ask us about the flu shot."
Mm-hmm.
CVS is a pharmacy, a chain of pharmacies for people that don't live in the U.S. And they had and sometimes we just have to go there for healthcare. We have to go to a store.
You know what CVS stands for?
Service, value, and care, value, and service.
Consumer Value Store.
Oh, that's weird. That just sounds like, it was on a spreadsheet or something. They're like, it was too long. Just shorten it to CVS.
Yeah, no, that's what it was. It was in Lowell, Massachusetts,
Oh,
1963.
the guy from Wings.
Yeah.
You have one of these CVS cards?
No,
Yeah, I get one of these things.
no,
man.
screw that.
They give you so many good discounts all the time.
That's what
40% off.
No, I don't like. They're tracking you.
They're tracking you anyway.
I know. These
You might as
companies-
well get something out of it.
Yeah, I don't.
I go in there sometimes. I get a bag of candy, 40% off.
You do most of your grocery shopping at the CVS pharmacy, and you also have more medicine, more over-the-counter
yeah.
medicine than
And
anybody.
under the counter.
One time, I had the sniffles when we were doing shows
Yeah.
in London, and you were traveling, and it was alarming. You opened up your jacket
Uh-huh.
and like bottles and
I had everything you could imagine.
tinctures and lozenges and sprays. Like, spray this in your throat and suck on this lozenge and take these 5 pills and
Yeah.
spray this stuff in your nose and swab this in your other nostril. I don't like it. I didn't use any of it.
No,
It was
because
fine.
I've been on too many trips that have been, not too many, but a few that have been like, should have been really good trips that were ruined by getting sick. So I get super paranoid about getting sick. So I always bring like a little bit of everything to make sure I can combat any potential illness. You also don't think medicine works. So
I don't think medicine doesn't work.
You told me just recently, you came around on like ibuprofen doing anything.
Yeah, I thought if you had a headache and you took medicine, that's clearly just a placebo.
Right.
And I always think, for the common cold, for a headache, just let it pass. You don't need to bring products into this.
Why not take a little ibuprofen, ease the pain a bit?
Because the pain is never. I don't get intense headaches, I guess.
Yeah.
I've gotten every couple of years.
I have an intense headache after we record every week.
Well, then turn down your headphones, Tom.
Well, I can't
hear it. You got
them
blasting. Every time I talk, I see your headphones vibrate. It's too loud.
It's fine.
It's like what it's like what George Wendt says to Macaulay Culkin at the beginning of the Black or White video.
Mm-hmm.
Turn it down.
It's too darn loud.
Is that what he says?
I think so. No, I'm thinking of Back to the Future when Huey Lewis says to Michael J. Fox, "I'm sorry, you're just too darn loud."
Yeah, he was too loud.
It was too much.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man, know your audience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're in the. It's not like you didn't know you were in the 50s.
No, this was in present day, which was 1985.
Okay.
But he was, playing like metal. When it's like, look, you got a guy Huey Lewis's age as one of the judges, and we learn later in the show that you know how to play Johnny Be Good real well. Mm-hmm. Do that for the audition, and then sure, showtime, do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, well, he alienated the kids too.
Yeah. That's why.
That's what I was thinking. Because he's like, I guess you guys aren't ready for that or something. Right?
Well, he alienated the kids in the 50s, and I'll tell you,
that's the audience.
I'll tell you what, they weren't ready for that.
No,
they were excited about Johnny Be Good. Sure, that's new, but all of a sudden he turns into Van Halen. Yeah. No, they're not ready for that.
Not ready for Eddie Van Halen.
No, they need a few more decades to work their way up to Van Halen.
It's true.
Yeah.
Anyway, you asked me earlier if I had something I wanted to talk about. I was in Arizona for a few days.
Yeah.
And we don't really have time to get into it.
The Hotel Arizona?
Hmm?
Welcome to the Hotel Arizona. Such a lovely place. Such a lovely place. Such a lovely place.
You're thinking of Hotel California.
I am, now that you mention it. But there is a statue of, who's the main guy from the Eagles?
Don Henley.
Henley?
I mean, I think Glenn Fry would argue with me if he heard me say
There's
this.
a statue of Don Henley, I feel like, in Sedona, Arizona.
That tracks.
Because he says, like, Sedona, Arizona, LA. Is that the song I'm thinking? Take It Easy?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
There's a Wilco song called Hotel Arizona.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think they beat you to that
joke.
That dumb joke by like 25 years.
And they wrote a whole song about it.
Yeah.
I just sang the same song with different words.
No, that's what their version is.
Oh,
it's a karaoke
right.
version of. I went to this parade and there was a ton of horses in it, Tom.
Okay. Was it a horse parade?
It might as well have been. It technically
Were there
wasn't.
any horses there to watch?
No.
Thank
like
goodness.
cheering on their
Yeah.
But Tom, being that this was in Arizona, there were so many horses in this parade, and sometimes it'd be 50 horses
without a person.
No, they were being ridden.
Oh, okay.
But sometimes the horses would start to buck a little bit.
It'd be 50 horses without a person in sight.
Tom, I was the only person in the whole crowd who was alarmed that one of these horses was going to start wilding out.
Yeah, well, that's because you're a city folk.
Yeah, you know how
they were prepared that if a horse started wilding out, they go, whoa.
I saw that, and at one point a horse did, but they had to bring this other horse from the front of all the like this pack of horses.
Yeah.
To come back and try to calm the other one down. I don't know if it was like his friend or something.
I think it's that they, like horses are pack animals, I believe.
Uh-huh.
And I think it's probably like, oh, there's the leader of the pack. And like, look at him. He's not freaking out.
Horses are their own man.
No. Think about the song Wild Horses. Wild horses couldn't drag me away. Not one wild horse couldn't drag me away. Wild horses are always plural. They're always together, hanging out.
No, then they wouldn't be wild.
Look at wild horses running around nature. They're always a bunch. It's not just one wild horse running around.
But that doesn't mean
You're
that there's
thinking of unicorns.
that there's like a head horse.
Yeah, there's always a head horse. Any kind of pack animal, there's a head.
I don't think they're a pack animal.
They're a pack animal. Horses are pack animals.
This is you don't know what you're talking about.
I know what I'm talking about. I've seen nice paintings of wild horses. And they're always in a pack.
Are humans pack animals?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, noted.
And that's why we have like leaders and stuff.
Yeah, but we're gonna.
And we stay in packs. We stay in groups.
Yeah, but sometimes
Bubbles.
we overthrow those leaders and chaos reigns, right?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, that happens with animals too.
Yeah, I want to see the Joker of horses. I think I saw it in this parade.
Tim,
It's sort of wild.
There's nothing I'm more sure of that you do not want to see the Joker of horses. All right, this week we're talking about playground games. The games you play on a playground.
Now, Tom, we're not talking about playground equipment. We're not talking about slides.
Before we get into it, let me credit the original suggestion came from Joe on our Patreon.
Joe what?
Just J-O. That was it. But then Natalie Garza also suggested, I forget what her topic, it wasn't playground games, it was like kids outdoor games, but she gave a lot of the actual games, a good list of the actual games that we'll be talking about. But yeah, Tim.
Thanks to Joe and
Natalie.
To
your earlier point, no, we're not talking about playground equipment.
It's not
equipment. We're not talking about I mean, sometimes some of these games might involve equipment, but we're not talking about, going on the slide. That's not a game.
Oh, no.
Was that your first game, going on the slide?
No, I was thinking that our definition of playground games were going to be, by and large, you don't need equipment for these games.
Oh, I mean, yeah, by and large, you don't.
Okay.
But
so you don't need ice skates or hockey pads or a helmet
you
or
don't
a
need
puck.
those on a playground. You don't need to wear anything to the playground.
That's what I mean.
That's one of the main.
That's what I mean.
But
that's what defines these games that we're talking about.
But when I'm talking about equipment, I'm talking about monkey bars. I'm talking about swings. I'm talking about slides.
Yeah, hockey
I'm talking
helmets,
about
a puck, a hockey stick.
No, I'm saying sometimes those can be involved in these. Hey, if they are, more fun, but you don't necessarily need them. I have maybe one thing on here that is arguably not even a game that does require.
And on here, you're talking about some sort of official document.
Yeah, this came from the government.
Nice.
Yeah, they sent it over. What are the games? Were you what kind of a kid were you on the playground at school?
You know what kind of kid I was.
Hide? Did you go and hide?
No, I didn't hide, but I wasn't playing games. That's for sure.
What were you doing?
Just chilling.
Chilling. What does that mean?
Talking.
Yeah.
Being too cool for stuff.
Yeah, but probably like lazily going on the swings or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. I did some good stuff on the swings. I had a good run on the swings. Until I'd get pretty high on those swings. That swing set, I remember it being 12 stories high. Yeah. But if we went back to it now, it'd probably come up to my torso.
God, I remember I had a teacher that she was in I think it was third grade. Yeah. She was like the pretty teacher, like in elementary school or so. He's like, a bunch of old men and old hags.
Yeah.
But then there's
they were like 36 plus.
Right.
But then there's somebody who's just out of college.
There's one or two pretty teachers. They're just out of college, but to you, they're like in their 40s.
Yeah.
But they're definitely not. They're like 23 years old, maybe 22. But I remember in third grade, we had the pretty teacher. And she one day came out like, hey, I'm going to hang out on the swings. And I would love to know, like, did her boyfriend dump her, like, during
Was
lunch?
she crying?
No, but like
Makeup was running.
But it was just a weird thing of her being like, because teachers did not go to the playground.
No, why would you?
No, exactly. That's the one time of peace you have all day.
Let me run around with these screaming kids.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But she came out, and like I said, in retrospect, something must have happened.
Yeah.
But she went on the swings.
You know what? Her ex-boyfriend probably showed up in the parking lot. She's like, well, I can't go there.
I usually go there and chain smoke, but he's waiting out there with his Mustang, and I have to pretend like I'm not here.
Yeah.
She went on the swings, and I remember it was like me and like not very many, like one or two other people. Like I felt very honored that I was like, I'm gonna come hang out with you guys. Mm-hmm. In retrospect, it was probably just like, you guys are the lowest maintenance. Like, you're not running around doing shit. Yeah. You're just on the swings. But she went on the swings, and she swung the other way on the swings.
As a bit?
No, I was like, you're not allowed to do that. You can't swing the other way. And she was like, no, they'll allow. And also in retrospect, I realized like, oh, she's wearing a skirt. She didn't want to flash the entire playground. But we weren't allowed to swing the other way because there was a fence behind the other way.
That led to the woods.
Which were real scary. So if you jumped off the swing that way, like
you'd wind up in the woods.
You'd wind up on the other side of like in my mind, a 12-foot fence that you could never get back over.
And also 9 times out of 10, there was a man on the other side of that fence.
There was always somebody lurking.
There's a beardo on the other side of that fence in some sort of tattered old clothing.
Yeah, I mean, he was
just waiting for someone to jump off the wrong way on the swing. They could claim that kid.
You can't swing that way on the swings because look, you go over the fence, it's fair game.
Yeah. The beard, it's the tentative truce we have with the beardo.
But and that guy was definitely hiding in the shrubs, getting flashed by this teacher.
That was the best day of that guy's life. It's like, all right, I'll take it. A little older, a little old for my taste.
But that's why did I even bring that up? That was just one of my memories about the swings.
Yeah, that's a cool memory, Tom.
It was.
Yeah.
We had weird relationships with teachers because I also remember by the swings, a friend Dan selling a substitute teacher Super Mario Brothers 3 for like close to the like retail price.
He sold it to the substitute?
Yeah, the substitute teacher came and bought it.
You should not be allowed to buy things from children.
No, from like a third grader?
Yeah.
Maybe a second grader? We were very young.
What, was Dan done with it? Did he beat it?
Yeah, he'd already beat it. So he was like selling it to this guy for like $50. And I was like, you can get it at the store for like $50. Why are you buying it from this kid?
That's cool.
Why are you risking your job to buy a used copy of this game? And also,
you're giving a child in second grade $50?
Yeah, and also if the game doesn't work, what recourse do you have?
It's true. Well, he's a lot bigger than the kid.
I guess. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the games children play on the playground.
Yeah.
I'm going to go through this list a little bit, if you don't mind. I'm going to start with the official games.
Now, does this have to... Is this true to life? Is this what you did on the playground?
No, these are all fictional games.
No, are these games that you played, or are you just aware of them?
No, I played all these games.
Okay, it's a question. You don't need to... I think the lady doth protest too much.
Look. The thing about all these games, Tim, is that they're easy to get into. No playground game has a lot of rules. Sometimes kids will make up rules as the game's happening, but you shouldn't be able to do that.
You know what we did, me and Jimmy Caniglio, in first grade?
What's that?
We walked around the playground, and we thought we were too cool to like play in all these games or whatever, play in the sandbox or whatever. Mm-hmm. So we just walk around chanting, "We think we're cool because we are cool."
Wow, it worked.
Like over and over again, and just feeling like this is what cool kids do. They just walk around thinking about how cool they are and verbalizing it.
I remember in fourth grade walking around with a friend, and the two of us would just, I don't think we were even, no, I guess we were in the same class, but we would just talk, every day was updating each other about what we've heard about sex. like, and new theories about it. Like, neither of us had a real firm grip on what it was, how it worked. We knew it wasn't for children, but we were very interested in hearing more. And the two of us were the only people we could hear more from. There were like a lot of theories about like what goes on, what happens.
You had to reason it out. That's in.
Yeah. I mean,
these pre-internet days.
I know, but all I can think about nowadays is that like there were definitely like playground aides, grown-ups outside who like heard every day, like, I don't know, those two fucking weirdos walk around talking about sex food. They don't go on they don't play, they don't go on any of the swings. They just say wrong things about sex.
It was like 5 or 6
to each
years
other
before these boys turn into creeps.
Yeah. And the worst thing is that they have no idea how any of this stuff works, but they keep just repeating it to each other. All right, but let's talk about games, Tim. The first game I'm going to talk about, probably one of the most common games that there is out on the market today, and that's hide and seek.
Hide and seek, not a great playground game.
Not a good playground game.
Unless you want to get into a modern style jungle gym.
Right.
Where
like a wooden guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, those are fun.
Yeah, there's like tubes you can hide in and stuff.
Yeah.
Tunnels.
I mean, hide and seek, as far as I'm concerned, it's just kind of tag, but somebody gets a little bit of a head start.
Yeah.
Right?
Eh.
Because to find somebody in hide and seek, it's not just finding them, you got to tag them.
Right.
So it's sometimes where you want to hide is just as far away as possible.
Sometimes you want to hide right next to the base. You ever have those kind of kids?
Yeah.
I was never one of those.
Yeah, it was
Seemed
always
too
like,
risky.
come on. Well, it was risky, but it was also like, come on, you got to play this game in good faith.
Yeah.
We're all trying to have fun here. We're not keeping score.
Yeah. I was bad at hide and seek because they'd always find me because they could hear me chanting, "We think we're cool because we are cool."
I remember when I was a kid not understanding how sound worked and not understanding that humans naturally can identify where sounds come from, and playing hide and seek, like hiding in a closet with it was at a babysitter's like a daycare type thing, hiding in a closet with a girl and being like, not like that, Tim, we were young, too young to even talk about sex yet, but hiding in the closet, and you could hear like somebody looking for us upstairs and going, "You'll never find us," and she was like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, kids think it's just like a sound happens.
Yeah, like this is the same as something playing over a loudspeaker.
Yeah, it's the voice of God.
Right. It didn't work that way.
Kids are dumb.
He immediately found us. Now, let me ask you about hide and seek's big brother, Manhunt.
Manhunt is cool.
There,
Manhunt is decidedly not for the playground.
Can you describe what the difference between hide and seek and Manhunt is, besides that one sounds cooler than the other?
All right. Picture hide and seek. Mm-hmm. This little wiener, right? This little idiot who's just like
marching around saying, I think we're cool because we are cool.
We think we're cool because we are cool. And then suddenly someone cool is just like, hey, shoot this in your arm. And what's this? Steroids? Whoa. What's this? My hair gel for me? For a cool do?
Uh-huh.
Oh, what's this? A mustache and a tattoo? I'm living large.
I don't think kids want mustaches necessarily. I don't think kids
that's what Manhunt is to hide and seek.
Yeah. As a kid, did you think like men played Manhunt?
I know I played Manhunt and I was cool.
But you were but a boy.
Guess what? You weren't confined to just like someone's yard or a playground.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of what the difference was, right?
Manhunt, as I knew it, it was played generally on a Friday or Saturday night or another night in the summertime.
Right.
And it was
a nighttime activity.
Yeah, and anywhere in the whole neighborhood is fair game.
Yeah, it was like, hey, as far as your legs will take you.
Yeah.
And hey, if you can hitch a ride, sure, why not?
Did you get to a car while playing Manhunt?
No. Tim, I used to live in Indiana.
I always used to think
with a different family before I was brought here.
the way I always pictured Manhunt is that, like, I'll climb a tree and hide in that tree. I've never climbed a tree in my life.
I would climb trees to hide and manhunt, but I'd still be like 4 feet off the ground, very easily spotted.
Now, the way we played Manhunt where I'm from,
You're from less than a mile away from
yeah, but on the other side of the village, right?
Yeah. The other side of our very small village that we come from.
We realized, because like you had to count to like 100 or something.
Yeah, you got a real big head start.
And what we realized was there was so much ground to cover.
Mm-hmm.
It got really boring if one person. Did you have teams?
Yeah, we would usually do teams.
We either had teams or we had 2 people being the finder.
Right. Yeah, you got to do more than one.
Yeah, otherwise it's just one guy walking around a neighborhood.
Right.
While other people wait in the bushes 3 blocks away.
Oh, I think what we would do sometimes is if you find somebody, then they're on your team.
Oh, yeah,
and now you're all...
like rounding up a posse.
Yeah, which actually kind of does make sense about a manhunt. You're creating like a dragnet, you're bringing more people into it until it's like 7 kids all hunting one man.
Mm-hmm. Did you play with guns?
Sometimes we would have guns. I mean, it didn't really. I think sometimes that would be suggested, like let's have guns while we do it, but it was like, well, what am I going to use the gun for? Because if you pretended to shoot somebody, it's like, no, you missed. So it's like, nah, let's just resort to tagging.
Right. No, I was talking about real guns.
No, we didn't have real guns.
I thought you said. Well, anyway, Manhunt, not a playground game.
Yeah, you can play on a playground, especially at night.
But you never have.
Yeah, I have. The next one on the list, Tim, Cops and Robbers.
Now, what is Cops and
I
Robbers?
think that's just kind of like pantomiming, you know? There's not really like rules. It's I'm going to pretend to shoot at you. You're going to pretend to shoot at me.
Yeah.
Cowboys and Indians.
There was one I
which
played.
Is now, no.
Yeah. No,
play
we'll
it.
bleep that. There was one time me and a friend played like that we were cops.
Mm-hmm.
But we gave it like a sitcom plot, but a weird sitcom plot.
Okay. So you're like buddy cops?
Yeah, we were walking around the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm. So nobody was playing robbers.
No, but we were trying to solve a crime.
Okay.
And we had access. We were like 5.
I can't tell you how many times I tried to open a detective agency as a kid.
Yeah, me too. Turns out there's not a lot of crimes to be solved.
Well, and I remember during one of the times my grandparents don't really understand what happened. They were moving from New York to North Carolina, and like a moving truck just disappeared. Like a moving truck stole everything in that truck. Yeah.
Oh, you've told me about this.
And like I was like, oh, I'll be on the case. And
were they just like, please just get out of here? Everything we own.
Yeah, in retrospect, and especially it was like the truck that was stolen was full of just like shit that was not worth anything. It was all sentimental value things. So I think like me, like, having like a magnifying glass
and like questioning your grandpa.
Yeah,
about it.
like
when was the last time you saw those photo albums?
Yeah, and he's like, oh, like my letters from the war to your grandma are gone. Please leave me alone. But I cracked the case.
No, you did.
Yeah.
You found all the stuff.
No, I killed the men responsible.
Nice.
It was street justice, pure and simple.
So we also had access to a car, like
what?
His family's car that was parked in the driveway. We didn't have keys.
Oh, okay.
But like, so we'd pretend that we were driving.
Yeah.
And
easy enough to do.
We were like, yeah, we got to solve this crime. Like somebody was murdered, and we'd go look for clues, and then we'd get in the car and drive to another thing and pretend like we were gonna go question somebody. But then somehow, the plot of it became. It was the day of our mother's funeral. And we were brothers. But also it was also the night of the big policeman's ball.
What? This is a very complicated plot.
And we both had hot dates to the policeman's ball.
Were you brothers and partners?
Yes.
Okay, unorthodox.
Good question. Yes. And we were just like, oh, what are we going to do? Like, the dilemma was, do we stand up our hot dates for the big policeman's ball?
Right.
Or do we go to our dear mother's funeral?
Uh-huh. It was one of those nighttime funerals.
Yeah. And we had promised her before she died that we would go to her funeral.
Right. Which a lot of people do to their parents.
Yeah.
They promise them.
So there was a
lot of
going on.
parents on their deathbed make their kids promise that they'll go to their funeral.
Yeah. So, we're dealing with this personal dilemma. And at the same time, someone's been murdered and we're trying to figure that out too. It was needless to say, stressful day.
What did you guys land on? What did you finally decide to do?
I think we
brought the hot dates to the funeral?
I think we went inside to get some string cheese and forgot about the whole thing.
Next on the list I have, this is along the same lines as the old hide and seek. Capture the Flag. Did you ever play Capture the Flag?
Yeah. I feel like when adults were involved, they made us do something like Capture the Flag.
Yeah, something like a little more cut and dry, a little more organized.
Yeah, where, we didn't have the...
Because kids love to play games that don't have like a definitive way to win or lose.
Yeah.
It's kind of nebulous what the rules are.
And they also don't want to be like, okay, this team, you pick a team, go off here, put your flag somewhere, and you go here, and then we'll say, let's play.
Let's just get down to it.
It's normally like, let's play tag, you're it, and then that's how we get.
And we're off and running.
Suddenly you're in a game, and it's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Like the movie Tag.
Yeah. People like that movie?
I think people do like that movie. I think that movie's supposed to be better than you would expect.
Good plane movie. I watched it on a plane.
Yeah. Well, you're a big Renner head.
Yeah, and I'm not. I'm an Ed Helms man. Was he in that movie?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Jump rope.
Cool.
Did you ever play jump rope?
Yes. Okay. I've jumped rope.
Jumped
for sport.
For yourself, where you're in control of the rope, or gone into two
like a double
people.
Dutch?
Yeah, double Dutch situation. Maybe not even a double Dutch. Maybe just a single Dutch.
I probably have.
Yeah.
More than, I was not an athletic child.
Mm-hmm.
So I think probably what I did is jokingly went into it and screwed up somebody else's good time.
Oh, yeah. I do that all the time.
Yeah. That was a very cool defense mechanism to be like, I'm not good at this, so I'm gonna pretend I'm above it and ruin it.
Along those lines, hopscotch.
Never really understood hopscotch. It seemed very easy.
Right? It always seemed
just stepping in boxes.
You throw a rock, and then wherever the rock lands, you gotta go hop to it, and then pick the rock up and hop back. And it always seemed to me like there was something missing. Like, there's got to be like another element that makes it a little bit harder than this.
Do you add up the score of how far you went each time? I can't imagine they were doing that.
No, I think that is what you would do. But you're right. I think a lot of people wouldn't bother to kind of keep track of that.
Yeah.
Along the lines of old-fashioned games, hopscotch. You ever played jacks?
I don't remember the circumstances.
Jacks is hard.
I did play jacks one time, and I remember going and being like, I don't know why we're doing this.
So
and I had the time of my life.
For anybody that doesn't know, all right, well, maybe we should explain some of these games. I feel like we're skipping over some of them. People are...
Everybody knows about hopping scotch.
Hopscotch, you got squares.
No,
you throw a rock.
What are we doing? We're grown men explaining the rules of hopscotch
But jacks, look, young people might not know jacks because when we were young, it was already well on its way out.
Tell us more about jacks, Amtrak Joe.
There are these little Amtrak Joe. Are you trying to call me Joe Biden?
You're the one trying to explain how jacks work.
Listen here, Sonny Jim. I'll tell you how jacks work.
Listen, Buster Brown. Listen here, Jack.
Listen here, bozo. I used to play jacks down with Skippy. Now, Skippy was a real mean one. Yeah, these little metal things with spikes. How would you Yeah, they're jacks. JACKS.
What were you thinking? JAX?
Yeah, jacks from Mortal Kombat. That's how you spell it.
Or the underrated cheese doodle.
Oh, those are like the puffs, right? The balls?
Yeah, and they always taste a little stale, but in a good way.
I think they might just always be stale.
Yeah.
Because they always come in a big thing. There's no way to keep that fresh.
I think they just made one batch of Jacks in 1984 that was so big that it lasted till 1998.
That's why it was coming in that huge barrel. They're trying to get rid of them.
Yeah.
There was some kind of a factory accident. They were supposed to be much smaller.
Tom, I just remembered about cheese balls.
Oh, yeah, cheese balls are great.
I'm going to go get a thing of cheese balls on the way home.
I have an important update about Reese's Take 5.
Okay.
I was in the supermarket earlier today buying the beer we're drinking. And the woman in front of me, I saw it in real time, her look at the Take 5 box, which was running low, I will say.
The Super Bowl advertisement has been...
She picked one up, examined it, threw it on the old conveyor belt.
Nice.
Yeah, it's working. And then
did you tap her on the shoulder and go, "Nice one, ma'am"?
No,
That's a great choice.
I was so mad at her because I'm not going to do it justice, and then you're going to claim that I'm just an asshole. But she was she was at the back of the conveyor belt, right?
Uh-huh.
And and so the supermarket is slammed right now. There's only 2 registers open, and there's big lines forming.
Right.
And everybody's just trying to get out of there.
Mm-hmm.
And on both registers, there's old people who don't know what the hell's going on.
The greatest generation. You just they fought for our freedom.
They don't know what's going on, and they're needing a lot of help from the cashiers because there's a touch screen or whatever.
Right. Okay.
So everybody's anxious because it's New York City. It's the Big Apple.
Everybody's anxious all the time.
But this woman is and you've been to a supermarket, but to paint a picture for the listener.
What's the address of it?
To paint a picture for the listener, there's not a space to be in line.
No.
Once you're in the line, you're in the...
I never thought of that.
You're in the
in
aisle
yeah.
that people have to walk through to access the store.
Right.
It's horrible. The place is not meant...
It's a travesty.
In fairness, they have a lot of registers. They're not always open, but it is not a place meant for lines.
Mm-hmm.
So I get anxious when this starts happening because now you're in line and you're dealing with, excuse me, where people are trying to shop and you're constantly in their way, which sucks.
Yeah. So you just go, "I'm sorry," and roll up into a ball on the floor.
So this woman, she's, the old lady gets done, and then the woman in front of me, she's got her stuff on the conveyor belt, but now she's just standing at the back of the conveyor belt, so I can't put my things.
Move.
And she's...
Wait.
What?
Is the elderly person that you hate so much still there gathering their stuff? Because I'll notice that about the elderly. They take a while to gather their things.
It did take her a while.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Folks move a little slower.
It took her a while, and that's fine. That's understandable. But she was gone by now.
Okay.
The woman in front of me is getting all of her shit rung up. She put the basket she was using just behind her, which is just in front of me. And she's just standing at the back of the conveyor belt, and the conveyor belt's going. And now everything's scanned pretty much, and she's just standing in the back of the conveyor belt, blocking me from putting my shit in the conveyor belt. Meanwhile, there's 3 people behind me in the aisle. Finally, she moves.
But then this Take 5 bar situation happened, and your heart was warmed.
No, it happened before then. But then I put all my stuff on the conveyor belt, and there's a pan. She has one of those aluminum foil pans.
Yeah.
She has one of those, but it's not on the conveyor belt. So I assume it's not hers. Somebody left it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But then she takes it, puts it on the conveyor belt after I've put all of my stuff on the conveyor belt.
I'm not going to call you an asshole. I'm just going to ask why you told this story.
So she does that, and I put one of the things to separate, the plastic things that separate. I put that in between, and the woman's like, the cashier's like, is this yours? And she's like, no, that's separate. And then takes it and puts it on top of my groceries. So I take it and put it, I'm like, oh, it's separate because you think it's mine. So I take it and put it back. And then the woman's like, why are you touching my shit? Just leave everything alone. And I'm like, what? So it was hers, but she wanted to pay for that pan separately.
How much did that pan cost?
$2. But she was on the phone the entire time, too. So it was like, get off the phone and pay attention to what's going on.
Yeah, stop putting your pan, your $2 pan, on top of my Hot Pockets. Where were you buying a bunch of Hot Pockets?
No, it was on top of my seltzer.
Oh, okay.
But I was like, you put it on top of my shit because I thought you thought this was mine. And then you flipped out when I tried to put it away because I didn't think it belonged to either of us. And if you just got off the phone and said, oh, that's mine, but I'm going to pay for it separately, everybody would have been on the same page. Oh, I was so mad. Luckily, I'm calm now.
Yeah. That was worth taking 10 minutes to explain.
Kickball. You ever play kickball?
Yeah.
Kickball is a pretty fun one. Kickball has a lot more rules than the rest of these games.
Yeah.
But pretty easy to pick up kickball game going. And kickballs are always fun to kick, huh?
Kickball was the one time on the playground at recess I ever got put in the box. Do you remember the box?
Yeah, the box or you got put on the fence. That was where timeout essentially.
Yeah. Yeah. So they were playing kickball. I was not part of the kickball because I was too cool. I thought
Right.
I was cool because I was cool. And I was not athletic, so I didn't want to do any kind of team sport.
Right.
Even though kickball is...
requires the slimmest of athleticism.
But I was walking by and I saw them rolling the ball. It's like baseball, except and they're rolling it over the plate and the kid kicks it. And I was like, I know what I'll do.
Yeah.
I waited for them to roll it. As soon as somebody kicked it, I ran out in front of them and just batted down the ball right back into the person.
Uh-huh.
And it was the gym teacher who was the pitcher.
Rolling the ball, not.
And he picked me up and took me and put me in the box and
Wow.
like screamed at me red-faced.
Wow.
Yeah, he was really big into the integrity of that game, I think.
Yeah.
And I just ran onto the field.
Well, and aren't you curious nowadays, like did his wife tell him she wanted a divorce that morning or something and he just had enough?
Probably.
It's like as a kid, A, you don't know about adult problems, but B, you don't think of any of these people as people.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, he doesn't have a wife. She doesn't.
She doesn't work here.
Yeah.
If he had a wife, I would have seen her
Yeah,
here.
at his home, the school,
Right. I remember
the gym. He's got plenty of room for someone else, and I only see him living there.
a teacher told us once that, as a joke, told us that she lived in the cabinets. I believed that for years.
Yeah, you can't joke around with kids.
No. I think she had
Kids are
clothes in
dumb.
the cabinets. I think like sometimes she would just, come to school from the bar or whatever.
Yeah, man, the young teachers.
Yeah. I'd love
so
to see
beautiful.
I'd love to see a documentary about these young teachers we had.
Yeah, because they would. I'm sure
So beautiful.
they were so beautiful.
You sound like Trump. These teachers so beautiful.
They were. I came to school and marveled in their beauty every day. Sometimes that was the only thing that got me out of bed in the morning. I never even had the young, beautiful teacher.
Yeah, but sometimes you'd see him in the hallway.
Hell yeah. Sometimes I'd see my friends were in the class, and before school.
And now we're talking about elementary school here. We're very young boys.
Yeah. We
Grade school.
were like 7 years old.
Pre-puberty.
Yeah. I just remember across the hall was the pretty teacher when I was in 4th grade.
Right.
And we'd all had to line up because the kids would get there half hour, 45 minutes before the teachers got there.
Yeah.
And so we just had to sit outside the classrooms in a line.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, what are the grown-ups are supposed to come to school 45 minutes early just because, our moms had to go to work?
Yeah,
that's crap. So we sat there, but I remember we were supposed to sit in front of our own classroom, but I always went to the pretty teacher's classroom, and then when she would come and, let the class in, I'd get to go like, hello. She'd say hi to me, but then she'd always be like, okay, go to your classroom, Timmy. And I'd be like, sure thing.
One day she'll date me.
and she did.
Oh, that's who you're married to now?
Yeah, it's my wife.
I was wondering why she's like
so
30
old.
years
yeah,
older
exactly,
than
yeah.
you. Yeah. All right.
Very old.
Oh, God, I just realized how old those young, hot teachers are now.
Yeah, if we were to call them beautiful now, it would be predatory.
Because they're elderly?
No, because someone their age.
Oh, right. No,
if
I'm
we
saying
went up to some 22-year-old woman and started referring to her as beautiful.
Right. If one of us was sitting outside their class now.
Yeah. They'd call the freaking cops.
Yeah, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
No, but I'm saying like nowadays, those teachers are, 30 plus years older than they were then.
Oh, yeah. I thought you were going to say, no, they were not 30 plus. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. We were 7.
Okay.
So like
30 years.
Yeah. And they're in their 50s.
Yeah. Look, if I remember them correctly, there's probably still knockouts. Tim, I want to get into some unofficial games. Some unregulated games.
Their skin was so clear.
What?
Like porcelain.
All of them?
The ones that I remember.
I remember some like having acne because I think they were just so young.
Yeah.
They were like still teenagers.
Do you remember the time, and we've told that story, somebody brought a nudie magazine to school and it was the talk of the town.
Of course.
But then it wound up, somebody got a hold of the nudie magazine, threw it in the dumpster.
Oh, come on.
And
ruining everybody's fun.
And then everybody got caught climbing into the dumpster looking for the nudie magazine.
Yeah,
but who caught them?
I lost my watch doing that.
But you know who caught them? What? The beautiful teacher. The young, beautiful teacher came out, and it was every boy. It wasn't the fact that they got caught looking for a nudie magazine.
Yeah.
It was that this woman now knew they were a bunch of creep perverts.
Yeah.
And she was, I'm sure she thought it was hilarious, but they were just like, oh, I've blown my shot with her.
Right. Where meanwhile, she might have just thought like, oh, I guess these kids have had their sexual awakening happen already. I did lose my watch. I found it. But I do remember that specifically, climbing into a dumpster after school and getting out of the dumpster and being like, my watch is gone.
my neon green shark watch.
No, it was a nice watch. It had the phases of the moon on it. It was like it was probably like a $30 watch. But as a kid, it was like, this is your dress up watch because it had leather straps.
I had a Three Stooges watch.
Nice.
That's the kind of kid I was.
Let's talk about some of the unofficial games.
All right.
Some of the underground games.
Yeah, unsanctioned.
Freeze tag.
Freeze tag was cool.
So freeze tag was whoever's it can freeze people.
Yeah.
When you tag them, they have to stop in place, but another member of their team can get to them and unfreeze them. But the danger, of course, is being that they might get tagged by the freezer.
Oh, yeah.
A real fun game to play.
Real fun one.
I don't know how you would win it. It just kind of played out until people were like, all right.
Yeah. I mean, that was tag in general.
Yeah. But somebody else couldn't become it in freeze tag.
Right.
I think the game was maybe if you froze everyone, then you won, and now somebody else would be it. Maybe the last person to get tagged, maybe the first person, who knows? Are you looking up the rules for freeze tag?
No, I'm looking at... Did you ever play TV tag?
That's also on my list, Tim.
Yeah,
TV
I
tag.
wasn't sure if that was just some dumb thing that I came up with as a kid.
No, I think it was I'm sure it was out there, but it was certainly a dumb thing.
Run and try to stay away from the person who is it. If they get close, yell out the name of a TV show and touch the ground.
Yeah.
The player is now safe.
This is on the internet?
howtoadult.com.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not how to
No,
adult.
this is how to play a children's
This is
game.
how to child.
More articles on howtoadult.com include how to reset a leapfrog leapster and faith-based children's games for Easter.
Okay.
Oh, maybe they all rhyme, yeah.
All over the map here.
I'd play superhero tag, Tom.
I think that was the same. You just had to say a superhero's name.
Yeah.
There were a few different variations of TV tag that involved various subjects.
TV shows were the only thing that we knew of, right? Like
that
the only
knew,
thing that we could
had,
like
a
list off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess maybe like fruits. And you'd be
Because
like banana.
You couldn't repeat what somebody else said. That
Right.
was the trick.
So like once Alf and Mr. Belvedere were gone, what do you got? And you didn't want to say something like Sesame Street,
or
make you look like a baby.
Right, or 60 Minutes.
Yeah.
And then you look like an old fogey.
Yeah.
Do you remember this game? I don't know if this is if this was anywhere outside of where we grew up. Asses Up. It was a handball game.
Yeah. It was alternately referred to as Aces Up.
Right, or A's Up.
Yeah. What was it? It was you batted the ball against the wall.
You wouldn't bat it. So like we never played, like as a kid, I remember never playing handball. There was a wall, pretty good wall that you could play handball up against.
Yeah.
But nobody played like actual handball where you
Do you
like
think when they were building the school in like the 40s, they were like, we're going to need a wall for kids to throw a ball against.
Court. No, I mean, because, at like the high school, they had an actual handball court, which is just a wall and a cement floor. Pretty easy. But as kids, I think maybe because our hands were small, we wouldn't like play like, oh, you smack the ball into the wall. I remember getting older and learning that's what handball is and being like, it's pretty fun. But this game was you would start the game by throwing the ball at the wall. I think you had to throw it under or over a line, something like that for the first throw at least.
Oh, yeah. This is what the cool kids played, or like the bad kids.
Right. So you'd throw it at the wall, and then when it would come back, you would try to catch it. And if you caught it, your reward was now you get to throw it.
Right.
But if you missed it, but it hit you, touch any part of your body, you had to sprint to the wall as fast as possible before somebody else grabbed the ball and threw it at you as hard as they could. And now if they tried to grab it and they missed and it touched them, now they also had to run to the wall. Sometimes
children running full speed towards a brick wall
on concrete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While somebody tries to throw a rubber ball at them as hard as they possibly can.
Well, and everybody, when somebody was everybody dove to try and get the ball to be the one to inflict punishment on them.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And now that usually led to a lot of other miscatches, and now other people who were who had to run.
Right.
I'm forgetting what the rule was, but I think it was if you grabbed the ball and you threw it at the wall, threw it at the person, but you missed, or they got to the wall before you hit them, and I believe you had to say asses up when you touched the wall. The person who threw
they were like paraded up there, right? They were like perp walked up there.
They were perp walked up there for the execution squad, where the person who got either hit late or miss, now they got to take the ball. They had to stand behind a line. The other person had to bend over with their ass up in the air. That was where the name came from. And throw the ball at them as hard as they could for no reason other than punishment. Yeah. Like, you didn't get a point or anything. You just got to hurt somebody. And if you missed, whatever, like, then that person got away scot-free.
Yeah. The whole premise of the game was the reward is you get to hurt somebody.
Yeah, which when you're a kid, that's all the reward you need.
I don't know. That was too stressful for me because I realized I would always be the guy getting hurt.
Yeah, I mean, there were always like a couple of kids where it's like, nah, the kid actually knows how to throw.
Yeah.
And you don't want them, because I remember even like those kids, hitting the ball and they had to run to the wall and being like, nah, I'm going to let that one go because I want to miss and have them throw it. There's a lot of strategy involved.
Yeah.
I also remember this was a game that the recess women aides, what?
Recess women. All right, Grandpa. All right, Amtrak Joe.
The women who were outside watching us during recess. They weren't teachers. They were either moms, current moms, or former
the playground
moms.
dames.
the playground broads. They were not a fan of this game.
No.
They did not want children to hurt each other. It was one of their their primary jobs on the playground was to make sure we didn't hurt each other, which was all we wanted to do.
Not me. Some of us just wanted to be cool.
Well, I either wanted to hurt people or hear more about sex. I remember one time they were like, you can't play this game because some kid ratted us out because he kept getting caught. He kept being it. And he was like,
They're throwing a ball as hard as they can at my ass.
Well, our thing was, if you don't like the game, there's plenty of other games to play.
Yeah.
Go take a hike.
Yeah.
This is the game we're playing. He ratted us out. Now the aids are over. And it's like, well, you can't play that game. Okay, great. You ruined the game. So this kid's name was Mike. So then we decided to change the name to Hit Mike. That was the game we were playing. And the game was just, as soon as you had the ball, you threw it at Mike as hard as you could. And now, of course, he ran off to the aides to complain again. And we explained to him, look, this is the game. We're just playing a game called Hit Mike. If Mike doesn't want to play that game, understandable. He should go play something else. It didn't work out.
You're a real piece of trash.
It wasn't I think it was my idea. I didn't like this kid.
All right. That's
One
all
time I set off his brother's car alarm, and his brother chased me and another kid.
What were you setting off the alarm for?
Because he was like, don't set off my car alarm. So we set it off.
All right, Tom, I'm sorry, but we have to cut this off because you talked too long about the incident at the grocery store.
Another game I want to mention, just real quick. This is kind of like the X Games of playground games, and it's just called Jumping Off the Swing.
Yeah, jumping off the swing was the best.
Yeah, sometimes
just be sure to jump
awesome.
the right way.
Be sure to jump the right way. Be sure you're not caught on anything.
Yeah. The aides hated it when you jumped off the swing.
And we'd always do it when the whistle blew to go back inside, because then it was like, what are you going to do? Yeah,
you can put me in the box for 5 seconds.
Put me in the box? I gotta go to class. I gotta learn.
Exactly.
Jumping off the swings, A+. What a great game to play.
Have you tried jumping off the
No,
swings?
of course
in
not.
Your...
Just thinking about it hurts my knees now.
Yeah. Man, I get sad sometimes about how old I am. The things that I took for granted.
Yeah, don't worry. It'll get better.
If you like the show, you can be our friend on Facebook, Tom. Or you can go to our website, tcgte.com. I haven't done this in years.
No, you do it like every week and you just get it wrong. Cool. Facebook.com/Complete Guide. Follow us on Twitter at Complete Guide. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Tom Reynolds.
Follow me at Your Pal Tim.
If you want to support us, support our sponsors, check them out. But also check out Amazon. Tom...
You said your name for some reason.
Short-circuiting. tcgt.com/Amazon for your Amazon shopping. And patreon.com/Complete Guide for our Patreon weekly bonus episode called Books of Podcasts. This week we are wrapping up the book Holes by Lewis Carroll?
Lewis
Sacker. I just watched the motion picture Holes with Shia LaBeouf. And Tim read the book. I'm going to tell him all about the movie. And then, you get all the back episodes. We're going to do a new book soon. So, and if you sign up now, you can vote for that. Patreon.com/Complete Guide.
And hey, thanks for all of our patrons. We source episode topics from our lovely patrons.
Yeah, this weekend last. Thank you.
Yeah, those people that we mentioned, those are card-carrying patrons.
Regular Joes like you.
Yeah. They're better. They're better than you.
Are there new playground? There have to be new playground games, right?
I don't know. I'm sure the rumors are still all the same.
No, they've got to evolved. They've got
like
to
Epstein rumors and stuff.
Yeah, I mean the conspiracy theories on the playground nowadays have to become more sophisticated, along with the rest of the world.
They're not like Super Mario 2 is really
where you play as Baby Mario. You remember that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, and before we get letters is way before Yoshi's Island. We all know that.
Yeah, we all know that.
All right, we'll see you next week.
That was a HeadGum podcast.